Do you bite the hand that feeds you? Have you ever been bitten? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom today is bite the hand that feeds you. This idiom has been popular since the 1700s, and it came from the story, literally, of an ungrateful, foolish dog that bit the hand of the person that was feeding him. Now, not very smart, right? But there's consequences to all of our behaviors, even though we might not know it at the time. So this idiom was, of course, extended to include people who go do anything and go out of their way to actually turn against or cause harm to somebody that's helped them in any way, shape, or form. That's what the idiom now means. It's got nothing to do with food. It's got nothing to do with biting. It's got nothing to do with hands. It just means if you turn against or do something to undermine or hurt or harm somebody that's actually helped you or gone out of their way to help you in some way, shape, or form. Now, who among us has never talked about somebody behind their back, gossip, spread a rumor, shared information that they may or may not know was true about someone, talked about their boss, criticized the company or the business or that they work for, criticized or commented on politics, the country we live in, the government, the way things are, some business or something that provides us a product or service. Like me, for sure, everybody. We've all done that. If we're human, it's human nature to look for what's wrong in things and then comment on that. But maybe it's something that's actually providing us a product or service that we need and appreciate. Maybe it's somebody that's providing us employment. I learned early on, probably back in school, probably even in grade school, that talking about someone behind their back, especially if they're a friend or have been friendly to you or kind to you or done anything for you in the past, is a mistake. I mean, I don't remember the exact situation or who it was now, but I remember I was talking about something or someone and the person was standing right behind me. And so I learned at a very young age that I wouldn't want to be treated that way. So why would I treat my friend that way? Why would I talk about my friend when she wasn't with us? And that was a huge lesson, and it taught me that if I don't want to be treated a certain way, if I wouldn't want anybody or my friends talking about me behind my back, because guess what? Kids, and especially high school, and even adults are very good at this, talking about someone else when they're not there. Well, guess what? And I figured out, especially in corporate America, it happens so many times, that if you were in the break room or by the water cooler, because we used to actually have water coolers, or in the break room getting a coffee, if you heard somebody talking or about someone else, it might have been their boss, it might have been a coworker, it might have been a friend, and the person wasn't there and they were saying maybe unkind things or complaining about them, guess what? Next time you weren't there, those same people would be talking about you. And I learned that lesson early on, and I'm glad that I did, because it's important to treat people the way that you want to be treated and set that example and be a role model, especially in our own businesses. Have you ever been bitten by somebody undermining you or turning against you or talking behind your back? Maybe you trained your biggest competitor. That happens all the time in business. Maybe you helped someone and that person turned out and did something to harm you in some way, shape, or form. I picked him. I went along with picking a particular business partner who turned around and came up with ways to harm myself and my ex-husband in ways that I could not even fathom. The things that this person did to hurt and undermine, me personally and my ex-husband as well. But mostly, I took the brunt of it, which is fine. I have broad shoulders, I could do it. But huge lesson learned there about helping people and them not necessarily knowing even that you've helped them, and they definitely don't appreciate it. So I've been on both sides of this coin, both sides of this situation. Again, learned early on, hey, I treat people the way I want to be treated, because it feels bad when people find ways to hurt you, especially when you don't even know that you've given them a reason, and lots of times you haven't given them a reason to want to do you harm in any way, shape, or form. There's just so many examples of this, and that we see so much of this behavior all around us right now. think politicians. Politicians are supposed to be out there to help us all, right? We elect them to represent us in our government and set things up so that we're successful. Yet, how often do they turn on the very people that have elected them as soon as they get elected and just follow their own self-serving interests? It's happened so many times, it almost is expected. It's almost normal and expected behavior. When do we start tolerating such ridiculous behavior? I suppose whistleblowers would be another example of biting the hand that feeds you, but I'm kind of on the side of whistleblowers. If something isn't right and it goes against your values or your morals or your beliefs, I think you need to speak up against that and say, and remove yourself from the situation and say, this is what happened and it's wrong and everybody knows it's wrong, so we shouldn't tolerate it anymore. You know, any kind of abuse or over control or abuse of power especially, I think it needs to be called out. But that's my beliefs, that's my values. So how do we deal with people that bite the hand that feeds them, or us being a person that has in the past bitten the hand that fed us in some way, shape, or form? I would say criticizing against your parents when you're a kid, or undermining your parents in some way, shape, or form, which what teenager, what kid hasn't done that, or done, you know, something that got them in trouble, and then you're complaining about your parents because you're grounded. That's kind of biting the hand that feeds you, right? Your parents are feeding you, probably sheltering you, and if you're complaining about them, or I would contend that any bitching, whining, complaining, or acting like a victim, those are all examples of usually biting the hand that feeds us. So how do you deal with that? What do you do in your business to make sure that you're not creating a culture that is predicated on people not treating one another right? I'd say number one, make sure that the people that you're hiring and bringing into your organization, that you're partnering up with and teaming up with and working with, that you have a core values match, that you are aligned in the things that are really, really important to you and your organization. Also, treat people the way you want to be treated. I find myself talking about the golden rule so much lately, and I'm like, why is it even popping into my mind? Probably because I'm seeing so many examples of behavior toward other human beings that is just plain ridiculous. And the other thing to keep in mind is that we want to be solution focused. All of us notice the problem. The problem's thrown in our face a million times a day by the media, by other people, by things. But as long as we're focusing on the problem, guess what? Our attention is being sucked out of us and our energy is being sucked out of us, and we're contributing to the problem. As soon as we make that switch and become solution focused, we become part of the solution instead of part of the problem. And the more that we do that, the more it helps not only our businesses, but our lives, and to make the world a better place. So make sure that you've got a values and a core values and a principles match. Make sure that you're treating people the way you want to be treated, and be solution focused, and see how little you notice the biting the hand that feeds you behavior. So our idiom for today, I love this one. Like I said, I don't know that I've ever said, don't bite the hand that feeds you, although I might have said that to my kids sometime when they were complaining about me disciplining them because they might have done something that was across the line. So love to know your experience with this idiom. Also love to know if there's an idiom that you would like me to do some research on and to look into, and put a little share and spin on it with respect to how we build and grow and supersize our businesses with respect to anything, any idiom, what it means, where it came from, and how you might use it in your business today. Have an awesome day. Don't go biting anybody. Don't get bitten. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.